Hey, game of the week again. Does it get better than Eagles-Cowboys with the top seed in the NFC on the line? It was a tough loss to the 49ers, but now the Eagles are going on the road in Jerry World. And how can they beat a Cowboys defense and slow down maybe the best offense in football over the last 6 games? Eagles-Cowboys breaking it down on Eagles Game Plan right now.
Hey, give that thing, take action. 1, 2, 3, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. It is another huge game for the Eagles. Week after week, it is Eagles-Cowboys. I'm John Clark along with Mike Quick and Ike Reese. And you know, you've heard the Cowboys have won 14 straight games at home, longest streak in the NFL. But guess what? Jalen Hurts does not lose 2 in a row. 5-0 after losses over these last couple years. Hasn't lost 2 in a row since his first year with Nick Sirianni. And the Eagles beat the Cowboys about a month ago. So what did you take from that game?
I took that the Eagles' offensive line, they really did a good job in deciphering what Dallas wanted to do up front. And that's the key. The big guys have to win. And if they're able to figure out what they're going to do, and they're going to bring a lot of pressures, figure out those pressures, keep them off of Jalen, and allow him to throw the football. They're going to have some one-on-ones on the outside with A.J. Brown and the Slim Reaper. These guys will work over that secondary, but Jalen has to have the time and allow these guys on the outside to eat. They were able to do it in that first matchup. They'll be able to do it again, Ike, against that man coverage.
Yeah, and I look at this Eagles defense. I think we have to get off to a faster start. I thought Dallas, they got into a rhythm early in the game. Dak was able to get some things moving. They moved the ball within the 20-yard lines. Eagles did a nice job at points in the red zone, being able to keep Dallas out of the end zone. But we got to do a better job as far as our third down efficiency, getting off the field. And in our passing game, we ended that game with 5 sacks and some big sacks late in that game from Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, that I thought helped us seal that victory. We just have to do a better job early in the game and not allowing Dallas to get into this rhythm. This offense of the Cowboys is humming right now. Dak is playing excellent football at the quarterback position. We have to do a great job of getting them out of their rhythm, and it starts with our guys up front.
And yeah, let's go to NFL Films. Greg Cosell in his office there, and you've been studying this Cowboys offense. Wow, in that first game, Dak Prescott had 374 passing yards against the Eagles, 3 touchdowns. And over the last 6 weeks, he has been the most productive quarterback in the NFL, 20 passing TDs and averaging over 300 yards a game. How impressive has this passing offense been?
John, it's been really impressive, and they've really become good over this stretch in the critical areas, third down, red zone. These are the things that really matter in the NFL. You must be able to do that. And the play that I wanted to show is from their last game, but it's a red zone play. And red zone is a combination of scheme and execution. You have to scheme some things in the red zone. It's not just one-on-one matchups, although it can be. But I want to show this touchdown, so we'll go to it against Seattle. And I love what they did here. First of all, they're actually in 20 personnel. They've got 2 backs and 3 wide receivers. Notice where CeeDee Lamb is initially. He's in the slot to the boundary side of the formation. Now, the coverage here that the Seahawks are going to play is a very common red zone coverage, high red zone coverage. It's quarters coverage. A lot of teams play this, including the Eagles. So what's going to happen is Lamb is going to motion across the formation. Now, Jamal Adams runs across with him, but that's not man-to-man coverage. It's still quarters. The passing strength has changed. So Adams has to get there. And what they're going to do is they're going to run a quarters beater. So just before the snap, let's map it out. You're going to see Michael Gallup, who now becomes the slot receiver to the wide side of the field. He's going to vertically attack the safety. Lamb, off the motion and the stack release, is going to widen his stem to attack the corner Witherspoon and force him to expand and play his deep quarter area of responsibility. So let's run it, and you'll see it's beautifully set up. The safety gets eaten up by Gallup, and now you have a Lamb one-on-one versus Witherspoon with a lot of space, and this is an unbelievably good throw. There's not a lot of places to put this ball for Prescott, and he puts it exactly where he needs to, high and away, because Witherspoon, given that he's in the end zone, tries to undercut it. So this is an example of great scheme and great execution in the high red zone, and that's what they've been doing exceptionally well.
Greg, I thought that vertical stem where he pressured the outside shoulder of the corner was the key. Forcing that corner to widen and giving the quarterback just an easy angle to fit the football in, I thought was really the key to that. But talk to me about Mike McCarthy and his effect on their passing game as a play caller now. They got rid of Kellen Moore. And now, how has he impacted this offense in their passing game?
Yeah, I think one of the things you're noticing, and again, I don't know if this is totally different from previous years, but what I really like, we know CeeDee Lamb's a really good receiver. We know that. So that's not the big issue here, Q.
Right.
But I really love the way they've been using Jake Ferguson. You know, they've really attacked the middle of the field. And, you know, I go back a long way studying football and had the chance to talk to a lot of people over the years. And one thing that always stands out in the NFL is if you can control the middle of the field in the passing game, then you can really be successful. You've probably heard that yourself all through the years. And Jake Ferguson has been a guy, the tight end, that's really been able to give them that, particularly on seam throws, which, by the way, Prescott has made some great seam throws to Ferguson. So when they get split safety, too high coverage, they've really worked the middle of the field effectively. And Ferguson, I believe he's the second most targeted receiver on this team after CeeDee Lamb.
All right, Greg, good breakdown there. Coming up, we're going to see how the Eagles offense can fare against the Cowboys defense. Thanks.
Thank you. See you soon.
All right, and we saw Jake Ferguson have a big game against the Eagles defense. The last Cowboys game, we saw George Kittle have a good game, but they've got help at linebacker. Shaq Leonard is with the Eagles, should make his debut against the Cowboys. What is he going to bring?
Well, I mean, you hope you're bringing in someone that still has a lot of good football left in him. We know what Shaq Leonard's resume looks like. He's a 3-time All-Pro. You know, for him to come in as a young player and establish himself the way that he did, you know, his career was off to something being great. Injuries set him back a little bit, and we'll see where he's at right now. How fast can he get acclimated to this defense, what they're going to ask him to do? The good thing is he's been playing this year, so it's not like he's been at home all season and hasn't played football. I think you're going to get a smart football player. I love the nickname, the Maniac, because you know you're getting intensity. He's a guy. The one thing I always loved about Shaq Leonard was that he had a knack for attacking the football, taking it away from the offense. So, and his ability to cover tight ends, running backs out of the backfield, we'll see if he can get caught up to speed and add that element to this defense.
I think a much needed aspect to this defense, you mentioned intensity.
Yeah.
If he brings that to the defense, he's bringing a lot. But the other thing is the depth now that you're going to have at the linebacker position, which is really important. You got to have depth there. And I think you're bringing in quality depth. To me, it's just a matter of how quickly will DJ Elliott, the linebackers coach, get him up to speed if he's ready to play on Sunday or if he's going to have to wait another week. But I think it's a much needed addition to have that type of depth now at the linebacker position for him.
All right, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota, and you'll want to see this Eagles offense start faster. 7 points or less in each of the last 3 games in the first half. So let's go back to Greg Cosell in his office at NFL Films. When you look at this Cowboys defense, what stands out to you the most, Greg?
Up with things, John. I mean, I think it really starts up front with all that they do, with all their different looks, all their different alignments, and obviously Micah Parsons is a major part of that. But the secondary is really playing well in addition. And Deron Bland obviously has a ton of picks, and he's a big play corner, and he plays off that defensive front really, really effectively because he makes a lot of his picks when he can plant and drive, and he can play off the pressure. And we saw that in their last game against the Seattle Seahawks on a 3rd down play. So let's take a look at that because it's very representative of what they do and how Bland plays. So here you're going to see that the Cowboys basically have 5 D linemen. So that's a 5-man front, but they have Micah Parsons in a stand-up joker position, basically right in front of the center, but he's not on the ball, he's just off the ball. But this, again, this is Parsons. You don't know where he's going to be. Now, they're going to rush 6 here. That's a trend in the NFL. You're seeing a lot of true 6-man pressures. But look now to the left side of the defense. You're going to see Deron Bland. He's playing an off coverage. But what he's going to do is he's going to play to his pressure. He's expecting this pressure to impact Geno Smith and get there quick. And this is what Bland does exceptionally well. He never gets out of his pedal. He stays in his pedal and just reacts to the route, reacts to Tyler Lockett, and jumps it. And this is just a great interception, but this is very, very representative of how he plays. And this is a team built on pressure, different front looks, allowing a corner like Bland to play that way, John. And it's really, really difficult because you have to be aware as a quarterback that he's going to sit on routes.
Gee, in crucial situations, you're going to see that 6-man pressure out of those guys. And You're going to get some one-on-ones on the outside. They're really good in one-on-one coverage. So my question is, how do you beat these guys?
Well, let's go back to the Week 9 game, Hugh. I mean, if you remember, and I think Bland might have been in press on this particular play, but they ran a stutter go with Devontae Smith, and those are the kind of routes you want to run against Bland, because Bland is going to react to what's in front of him. That's the thing. This is how he makes his picks. But he's beatable. He's a beatable corner in other ways. And if you remember that play, it was a stutter go. Smith got on top of Bland, and Jalen made a great throw. Those are the kinds of things you have to do, but it all starts with protection. And as long as you can protect, I think there's ways to attack Bland in particular. Obviously, Gilmore's the other corner. He's still a really, really solid player. But you can go after Bland. You just don't want to get caught in a position where the pressure becomes a factor, and then they can sit on routes.
Well, that's the thing for me, G, is protecting and recognizing this pre-snap between Jalen and Jason Kelsey, and understanding what Dallas is trying to do to you. What are some of the things that you believe the Eagles can do from a communication and protection standpoint to sort of recognize this and then take advantage of it? Because there are some opportunities there if they get this protected and Jalen has time to get rid of the football.
Well, you know, an offensive line coach who's been in the league a long time, I talked with him this summer, and he said to me, when you play teams that like to move around with people in their front alignments, he said, you can't get up in who people are. You have to block where they are. So in other words, you can't just get caught up, oh, well, Parsons is here, Armstrong is here, Lawrence is here. If you start getting caught up in that, he said, you lose your focus. You have to block where they are. So in other words, if you have a slide, you slide. If you're going to man block, you man block. And I think that's the way you have to do it, because otherwise it becomes mental gymnastics, and it becomes too hard to try to figure all that out about, okay, there's Micah Parsons, we better do this. Oh no, now he's over there, we better do this. That's too hard to play that way.
That's a great point.
Always making great points. Greg Cosell, thanks a lot for joining us once again. We will see you next week.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right, and when you're traveling on the road, really tough game against the Cowboys, you probably want to get that running game going more than it has. And why do you think this is a good spot on the road against that defense of the Cowboys to get the running game going?
Well, I think, first of all, their offense is so hot, you want to keep them on the sideline. And if the Eagles can run the football effectively, and I think they can, you really want to lean on your big guys, that offensive line. We talk so much about how this offensive line is one of the best in football. Well, this is the perfect time to prove that you're one of the best in football and get that running game going. Get behind Swifty, run the football, and allow the offense to chew up time on the clock, score touchdowns, and keep their offense on the sideline.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And this Cowboys offense has been really, really good in the red zone. The Eagles had a couple big stops in the red zone in that last game against Dallas. So who's talking situational football? Here's our own Fran Duffy with tape study presented by Chickies and Pete's.
And thanks, John. Yes, this week here on Tape Study presented by Chickies and Pete's, the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, I want to take a look at situational football because it's been an area that the Dallas Cowboys have been very good at over the last several weeks. We talked earlier with Greg about the proficiency of this offense, and it's going to be pivotal here in this game in very high leverage situations. Third down, red zone. Can the Eagles come out on top? When it mattered in Week 9, the Eagles were able to make some key stops, especially late in this football game. And this is a great example. This was after a Dallas touchdown. They're going for a 2-point conversion. Now, this is in the red zone where the Cowboys have been very, very good. And over the last few weeks, they've been excellent from empty sets where Dak Prescott is by himself in the backfield. They've also used a lot of pre-snap motion. You see here, they shift into a different formation here before the snap. Now, when you shift into a look like this, if you're the Eagles defense, you have to be thinking run, run, run. And that's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys are counting on the Eagles thinking here at the snap. Because when Dak Prescott takes the football from the center, this is going to be run, look, all the way. And that's what they're hoping. They are hoping that safety Kevin Byard crashes down on this run fake to Tony Pollard, and they're trying to get Brandon Cooks in the back of the end zone on a crossing route. Now, thankfully for the Eagles, Kevin Byard stays really disciplined in his coverage. So he is there to take away that route from Brandon Cooks, and Dak Prescott has nowhere to go with the football. Now, the next route is supposed to be Jalen Tolbert on a backside in-breaker. James Bradberry is there in coverage. Dak Prescott is not able to get there. Why? Because he's got Jalen Carter right in his face. Carter did a great job getting off the snap, and he got instant penetration, and that's going to force Dak Prescott off of his spot, get him rolling to the right. And that's where the next phase of this play really comes into play, because the Eagles have a very veteran defense. We already saw Kevin Byard doing his job, but now I want you to watch James Bradberry, because Bradberry here in coverage on Jalen Tolbert, as soon as he sees Tolbert reacting to Prescott rolling to his right, Tolbert now has to bend back to work back into the quarterback's vision. But watch what Bradberry does. As soon as Jalen Tolbert decides he's got to go into scramble drill, well, now look at Bradberry. He pushes the receiver out of the back of the end zone. That is a perfectly legal play in this situation. When the quarterback is outside the pocket, illegal contact is no longer an issue for the defensive back. So he takes the wide receiver out of the play, and that's where Dak Prescott now is going to run for the pylon. He's on a foot race with the Eagles defense. He reaches out, and the officials score it as a converted play there. But after review, this play comes back. Dak Prescott stepped out of bounds. Now, why did he step out of bounds? Look at Brandon Graham here, another veteran on this Eagles defense. As soon as the quarterback breaks the pocket, BG goes in a full out sprint. He never breaks stride. He goes full on effort for Dak Prescott, and Prescott feels it. He knows that he is in a foot race with Brandon Graham here. If BG holds up for even a little bit, if he stutters and if he loafs even just a little bit, Prescott's got an easy path to the end zone. But because BG is making a beeline for Prescott, that means Prescott has to go to the pylon. This is going to be a hard angle. He is sprinting for the end zone, and he steps out of bounds just shy. And you can see it here from the end zone angle that he stepped out of bounds there. He is shy of the goal line, and the Eagles get a stop. This play was one of the most pivotal in that Eagles win, because this keeps it a 5-point game. When the Cowboys get the ball late, they can't settle for a field goal to tie it. They need a touchdown. They come up short. The Eagles get the win, all because of really sound situational football. Kevin Byard understanding his role in the coverage, not biting on the run fake. James Bradberry holding up in coverage on the back end on that backside route, and then pushing the receiver out of bounds in the scramble drill. Jalen Carter with the instant penetration, and then Brandon Graham with his relentless pursuit of quarterback Dak Prescott. You need that kind of full team effort to come up in these high leverage situations. Again, third down, red zone, it will be pivotal in this game against the Cowboys.
All right, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And once again, this is a huge game. The Cowboys are just the third team ever to score 30 or more points in their first 6 home games. Eagles defense going to Dallas, hoping to slow that Cowboys train down. So call your shot. I'm thinking maybe Eagles defense here. I'm thinking it's a possibility for Ike Reese.
Yeah, you're thinking absolutely correct.
You need it.
Yeah, we're thinking absolutely correct. And you know what? It's going to be a big game tonight, right? Sunday night football. National audience, what better way than Big Play Slay to step up and make a play? Not only will he have an interception, I'm going pick 6 for Big Play Slay in this game.
Whoa.
Pick 6.
The House of Bland, right?
That's right,
Like, do
pick
it
6.
to them.
I would love to see
That'd
that
be amazing.
one. I'm going Slim Reaper.
Okay.
I think the Slim Reaper is starting to heat up. He's going to go for over 100 yards and a touchdown.
There we go.
I like it.
Like
Slim
the
Reaper.
touchdown.
I like it. Hey, this is a huge one. Top seed in the NFC, and of course, the division lead is on the line. He is Mike Quick. He's Ike Reese. I'm John Clark. Enjoy Eagles Cowboys. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by Pepsi. Zero sugar. Zero never tasted so good. That's what I like. Toyota, your local tri-state Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy.